Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes. How lovely it was. I don't want to wake nobody. For the memory. I want you to know.
Yeah.
I mean, I want you to know right now.
I want you to know that was the Isley Brothers. I'm here this Monday morning, Martin Luther King holiday, with Olin Christopher Bell, aka Chris James, my brother, out in Georgia, close to Atlanta. How far are you from Atlanta?
About 40 minutes.
That far? Depending who's driving, I guess.
No, but traffic is really heavy here in Georgia, so about 40 minutes.
Yeah, well, it's beautiful, man. I enjoyed being out there with you. Anyway, so we're going to start off with this interview. Tell us about you growing up in Oakland, California.
Well, yes, I was born and raised in the Bay Area. Born in Berkeley. At one time, there was no separation between the two cities. Born in Berkeley and raised in the Bay Area. I went to Castlemont High School, graduated from Castlemont, and attended Laney for a moment, but then I went into the service.
Oh, you're going fast, man. You did that real quick. As a youngster, tell us about a youngster, man. You play ball or?
As there were four of us that grew up together, myself, my sister that was older than me, and my younger sister Rose, and my brother Joseph. And back then in Oakland, California, it was just, I didn't know what racism is because those things really didn't happen that we saw as children growing up in Oakland. The neighborhood we lived in, or the neighborhoods we lived in, was pretty mixed. You had Asians, actually Argentine people, Hispanics. So I grew up in a pretty diverse time, although I didn't get bused to school. Most of the time, if I heard the N-word, it was right in my own home. From my, from my help, because the way they would talk back and forth and use the language. But growing up in Oakland for me as a kid was different, to say the least. But it served well. We raised chickens and had gardens. We had two pieces of property. One piece of property on a street called 85th was where we had the chickens and fruit trees. And the piece of property we had on 88th and A Street in East Oakland, because both of these places were East Oakland. We raised pigeons and rabbits and ducks and turkeys and had a garden. Wow. So we were, if nothing else, we were pretty healthy kids because we ate healthy.
Yeah. You're blessed. You were blessed. You were blessed, brother. You were blessed. Yeah. In the country. In the country.
The country and the city.
Yeah, we called that's what they call San Francisco the city. So yeah. Okay. So
always did music. One of the prerequisites of childhood in my mother and my grandmother's home was to sing quite a bit. My grandmother was into country and western. We listened to classical music. My mother played gospel music. So music was always around my life. I was pretty much a major part of us growing up in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that was going to be my second question. Then you You went to high school. You went to high school there in Oakland, and
Mhm.
then you went to the military.
Right.
Thank you for your service. Tell us about that.
That was an experience going straight um, from high school straight into the military. It's actually was headed to Vietnam. Um, that was a pretty deep experience, just going through basic training. I still have vivid memories of going through basic training. And back then at Fort Ord, California, they used to shoot real bullets over your head as you crawled under the wire that they had. They'd shoot real bullets. They'd explode hand grenades that were not, to kill you, but the bullets were real. They told you don't stand up. That was for me, has always remained a problem for me sleeping. It was really traumatic, coming straight out of a country kind of situation, going in the service. Let me back up, which is in my book. By the way, the name of my book is Music Saved My Life. From darkness, there you go. From darkness into the light. And one of the things that gives me nightmares to this day is going into that net, knowing that I would be shot. And you did 1 week of basic training because I had no specific skills, I was like most black GIs, infantry immediately. Put them brothers out there in front, let them get shot.
Expendable. Yes.
Exactly. So the service, but for some reason I was slick enough or smart enough or lucky enough to immediately get in there because I could play a little bit of piano and always dealt with music no matter what was going on. Music was just a natural part of my existence. Pre-service into the service.
So from Fort Ord, what other parts of U.S. did they send you to?
I went you have your first 8 weeks at Fort Ord, and then my second
Water, something to drink.
my second 8 was at Fort Chaffee, Arkansas. So I went from one extreme to another extreme. And again, some of those things remain with you, especially the bullets over the head, remain with you throughout your whole life. Here I am, 77 years old, and as I said, I still have those nightmares, thinking that I was going to end up in Vietnam because a lot of my, comrades went straight to Vietnam and didn't come back. I was one of the lucky ones. They sent me from Fort Ord to Fort Chaffee, and then to Fort Knox, Kentucky. And from Fort Knox, Kentucky, I went on a boat to Germany.
Oh, there you go.
I spent the majority of my time stationed in Stuttgart, Germany, under the 7th. And through the whole situation, music was always a major relief point for me to be able to sing, to play. I learned how to kind of play bass as a kid, which is also in my book, with a big tub, string, and a broom handle. But I got a real bass in Germany, and had to learn a stack of records like this. But I was determined, and I did. I don't know how, but I remember, it was a chore. But I eventually learned how to play, And so most of my time in the military, if I wasn't playing off the post at some little pub or something in Germany, I was playing with a band that used to tour Germany while I was there. So music was always a prominent fixture in my life.
Wow, that's great. Yeah. So, yeah, I know you. Tell us about the group, the singing group. When you
You mean the
started, I
one
mean,
that
you started touring there. You started performing with some other fellas out there in Germany. Tell us about that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what we did. We played on the bass. We played off the bass. We played behind a group called, the name of the band was called the Five Soul Brothers. And the name of the group that I played behind was called the Capris. They were good singers. They were good singers. It was interesting playing for them, you know. I learned actually at one particular point in my life, I can't do it anymore. I was able to play and sing, you know. That's when you're young and your mind is open to all kinds of things. But we toured with them around Germany, Stuttgart, Mannheim, Frankfurt, Schaffensburg, Nuremberg. These are all cities within Stuttgart, Germany. These are all cities around. And as I said, I spent most of my life, most of my military life, playing music, and till I got out.
Now, those were paid gigs, right?
Not when you get the gigs at the pubs, yes, but the gigs with the military, no.
That's okay. All right. Yeah.
You just play. That was the first time I met. What was the guy's name that did Walking the Dog?
Oh, Rufus Thomas.
I met Rufus Thomas for the first time in Germany.
Wow.
We were on the same stage with him. It was the first time.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I met him, and I got to see for the first time in my life Charlie Mingus in a concert. He was playing a white bass. I'll never forget it. And that was for me. That was an experience.
I was a real fan of Rufus. I love him. Tramp and
Right.
Walking That Dog and Carla. I just love Carla, baby. Gee Whiz. Gee Whiz, It's Christmas. And
That's right. I met Tom Jones.
really, all right.
I met Tom Jones in Germany. I was playing at one club. Wait a minute. We were playing at the Tivoli Bar, downtown Stuttgart, and he was playing at the Dixie Bar, which was down the street.
Wow.
And that's where I met him.
Well, yeah, I'm just mentioning one thing. After I visited you down there, I went down to Memphis, and you just mentioned Walking the Dog. His saxophone player, who played on that song, the professor, Mr. Green, I had met him, and I was going to interview him, and he had passed away on Thanksgiving Day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, God bless his soul, you know. But anyway, so you got to meet these people there in Germany. Isn't that amazing, huh?
I was a kid. I was maybe 19 and a half, 19.
Yeah. Golly, that's something.
Excuse me.
Yeah, bless you, brother.
Woo. But that was my musical career in the military.
Okay, so you come back to Oakland. Bless you. Oakland, California.
Yep.
And had to come back and work, didn't you?
No shit.
Tell us about that.
Well, when I first got back, it was interesting because I don't want to give the whole book away.
No, we gonna do that. They gotta buy it, and we tell them how they can do that later.
It was not what I planned. I had planned to go back, but I was diverted from going back. Um, and I'll just say it like this: diverted to go back, and forced to get married. You can almost say almost like a shotgun wedding,
Yes, sir. I can agree with that.
and had to uh, have a family and go to work for General Motors, which I did. And that in itself was there was no lag time.
Now, what was that? Was that Fremont?
Yes.
Not in Motown.
No.
That
I
was
was in
Fremont, not Detroit. Gotta keep that clear, okay, brother? All right.
Fremont, California.
Fremont, California.
And in when I first got back, let's see, I got back in 65. Yeah, 65. And immediately, as I said, I had to go to work, start taking care of a family. And while working at General Motors, I ran into a guy by the name of Punkin. His name is Alfred, but his nickname was Punkin. And he had a group, and I was told that he was looking for another singer, so I auditioned, and the rest is history. The Natural Four was born from that. It was 1968. And we lasted from 1968 until 1975.
Okay. Who were the other two members? It was you.
Three
Well, you
men.
had you, Pumpkin. That's two. Need two more members.
Oh, John January
Okay.
and Alan Richardson.
All right.
Alan Richardson, as I said the last time, has since passed away.
Right.
He was a good baritone. But for all three of those guys, music was a hobby. For me, I was serious.
Right.
It was about making music, period. So anyway, any more questions? Specific
Oh
questions?
yeah. I want to talk about the Natural Four. I mean, you guys got out there. You had a few hit songs.
Yeah, the very
You
first
got
hit song
started.
locally, the very first hit song was "I Thought You Were Mine," and it did okay. Then the next one, and this was on ABC Records, was "Why Should We Stop Now?"
Right.
And that's the song that actually got us connected with ABC Records. I Thought You Were Mine was pretty much on Bula Bula record with a local producer who was a crook named Willie Hoskins. And so from I Thought You Were Mine, which was written by Lonnie Cook, by the way, from LA. Although I think he was originally from the Bay Area. Lonnie Cook wrote that song. And then Ricky Jones wrote Why Should We Stop Now? He's since passed years ago. And we did shows in the Bay Area, Sacramento, sometimes in Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, not too often in Portland. Portland was like a funny place to go. But mainly around the Bay Area, and we'd do high school gigs. We would do little lightweight concerts. And in the late 60s, early 70s is when the Afro was the big thing, So we, depending on how you look at it, each of us had different grades of hair. So the easiest way for all of us to kind of look alike, hair-wise, they had a lot of shops that do women's hairs and stuff. They carried products, and I bought my first natural wig from one of the shops down on Telegraph Avenue in the Bay Area.
Berkeley,
Yeah, more or
Berkeley,
less.
California.
And Hint came. I can't exactly remember when the name came out. How it was just one of those things that happened. Because again, naturals were a big thing, so we called ourselves the Natural Four. And because my natural one was not as long as Pumpkin's. Pumpkin had a head full of hair like this. Alan had, that wavy hair stuff that brothers have.
Yeah.
That's natural. So he couldn't grow no big afro. And John had a small little afro. So because John January and myself had the shortest afros, we got the wigs from these specific shop, and hence came the Natural Four.
Okay. Now, at that time, I know for a fact, Motown was booming. They had so much hits going on at that time, so much talent. I mean, I remember that time, one of my favorite songs you guys had, I mean, the hit for me was Can This Be Real?
But that was after.
That was later.
Now,
Okay, yeah.
that was another complete era when, we used to do a lot of gigs in the Bay Area and in San Francisco.
Right.
And Why Should We Stop Now came in late 72, mid to late 72. Because there was a very quiet period for us from like late 96 through 96. Sorry, not 96. Late 71.
Okay.
It was really about a year, not too much of anything. Everybody had to get a job. And so we were still doing as many gigs as we could. We had a guy by the name of Lou Vasson who used to book us. And my sister had this gentleman, I can't remember his name. It's probably in my book, but I can't remember now. But anyway, he was a friend of Marvin Gaye's and Curtis Mayfield's. And he knew about my group. And he got a meeting with Curtis's partner, Marv Stewart, because we started singing. It was the time when the Superfly movie was out.
Right.
And we did Eddie, You Should Know Better, which was in the movie. We did our version of that. And they heard it, they liked it. This guy, my sister's friend, told Curtis and Marv Stewart. And Marv Stewart came out to see us. He was a little short Jewish guy. And he came out to see us, liked what we were doing. And again, literally the rest was history. They invited us to LA. We did that song. That was one of the first ones we recorded. And then we did another song called You Bring Out the Best in Me. I know you've heard of Leroy Hudson.
Yeah.
And him, Laurel Simon, and a couple of other guys started producing stuff on this. But this was in late 71, early 72 when it came out. And then we did Can This Be Real? It started getting a lot of play. And we ended up doing the Soul Train Club in Chicago, because we were a Chicago-based group at this point. And we did Don Cornelius' Soul Train in Chicago. And because there was a connection between Don Cornelius and Curtis's company, which was Curtown Records, when Soul Train got picked up by whoever, I don't know all that. We were one of the first groups or among the first groups to get a shot at Soul Train, which we did it several times. As a matter of fact, that is where Curtis introduced the Natural Four to the world. He was supposed to be on the stage with Wilson Pickett. And if you know anything about Wilson Pickett, he was a jerk. And him and Curtis got into it. And so Curtis was going to just cancel everything. And we said, please, Curtis, please, let us do our part. Curtis didn't do it. And if you can remember, he goes on and said, the only guest we have tonight, and I want to introduce him to the world, is the Natural Four. And that's when we were introduced to the world. I was in 72. And then we started doing Wolfman Jack, In Session. We started doing a lot of television shows. But our big break came from the radio station. People like Sly Stone, even though me and him had gotten into a ruckus years prior, Sly Stone helped to launch the Natural Four's career because he was a DJ on KDIA.
KSOL.
And
KSOL.
KSOL. But you had KSOL and KDIA both.
Yeah.
And we did both, we used to do interviews on both of those radio stations.
Right.
But Sly Stone had a lot to do with us getting to the next level musically.
And the Wicked Pickett, boy, he was always packing, man.
Oh,
He made sure he's gonna get his money.
he's a thug. He's a thug.
He sang though.
Yes, he could.
Yeah, he was bad.
That don't change the fact that he was a thug.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you guys were doing it. You guys were kind of competing with the Whispers pretty much in the Bay Area.
Yeah, because they're not from the Bay Area. They came into our territory.
That's right, but
the Whispers, the thing that the Whispers had is they had cohesiveness. You had two brothers. When they first got there, was only one, and that was Scotty.
Right.
Walter was still in the service.
Right.
And I could see the handwriting on the wall in terms of longevity for Natural Four. Shortgevity for Natural Four, longevity for the Whispers. And, I used to go to some of their rehearsals and stuff, so I had no problem with them. Just like I remember Lenny Williams when he first started. We were doing a gig in Palo Alto, somewhere over there. And that's when I first met Lenny Williams. I would think that was just before he started with Tower of Power. So we were there with everybody. We just did not have four guys on the same page ever.
Right.
It was always somebody off the charts. Always one individual, Delmus Whitley, who was the worst choice to have in the group. He's about him. He's like a Donald Trump.
That says it all.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people like him. They still do today, except for those that know him very well.
Right.
And he's, as far as I know, he's still in prison.
Wow.
But he was a good singer. And Leroy found a niche with him as somebody he couldn't write for me because Delmus had a very smooth way of singing, which is fine. I don't have a problem with it. It's just that he was not a very honest person. Period. He's always thinking of ways to do wrong shit. That said, he's like a Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be the coin for anybody that sucks nowadays. Yeah, you're like a Donald Trump.
That's gonna be the new word for MF.
Exactly.
New word.
You Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. There you go. Anyway, so this book you wrote, it's that's a made for movie book, I believe
It's a what?
you got to make a movie out of your book. I think somebody should. Somebody might invest in this book and make a movie out of
I sure wish they would. I
it.
was told the other day by a young lady that I just did a video with in Argentina, because she downloaded the book
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and she read it. And the first thing that came out of her mouth, she said, "Olin, your book is amazing." She said exactly what you just said. She said, "You should make it. Your book should be made into a movie."
Yeah. First of all, I want to thank you for your services. Always the veterans, man. Got nothing. I got nothing but love for them.
And we were
And
we were the ones they treated the worst, the ones from Vietnam.
what was that again?
I said, we're the best that they treated the worst. The
Oh
ones who were
my
the-
God, it's a shame. A shame. First of all, people of color, number one,
Yes. Yes.
you know, and I mean, it's just a shame, bro. I mean, how you gonna go over there and I mean, look at Ali. He didn't go. He had to,
Yeah,
he told us,
they gave him a hard time too.
they sure did. They tried to destroy him, but he was the greatest. They couldn't do that.
That's
He
right.
couldn't do that. And look at what he prevailed. He went on and became champion a couple times after that. And it's just sad that I mean Joe Louis, he went in, the service and he did everything that they wanted him to do, and he was still champion. And but I don't know, man. We live in a crazy world, man. And this is the craziest times of all. But like I said, thank you for your services, and I mean, there's more to this book. I mean, there's more to your story. You survived, like a lot of us.
Yes, sir.
You married a beautiful lady. You want to tell us about that, or we're gonna have to just finish this little story what we're going on, or is that going to be part two? You want to tell us about it now? Who you married to?
You mean now?
Now.
Yes. I'm not going to tell the whole thing, but I met and married Zakia Hooker, the daughter of John Lee Hooker. Most people would not really realize, I guess our association or our relationship was supposed to happen. It was not something where you see this person walking. It's none of that. We started out in business together, and at the end of the day, realized that we could work together better as husband and wife than trying to do things in separate ways. We have very little arguments, and usually the arguments are about music. We have no children together. She has her grandsons and her grandchildren, and I got my grandchildren, and I have more than she does. But we work together well. I don't think that my life would be where it is today if I had not met her. I can almost say that very positively. She was a blessing in my life as my friend, and and as a partner. And we do show. Her and I have been doing shows together for over 20 years. It's sometimes difficult because of who her father was, but not difficult in the way, like it's hard. It's just, they expect certain things from her, which she's not her father. She may look like him, but she's not her father. And she does her music her own way, and I'm cool with that. We've traveled around Germany, Switzerland, Sweden, Thailand. I mean, that's just to name a few places that we've been to do shows. And she's a natural, and she got it from anything. She got that from her dad. She's a good vocalist. Other than that, you know, as I said, we get along, and that's the most important part of any relationship is to get along.
Well, you're a beautiful couple. You have a beautiful home. I can't wait to go back and visit you.
You got it, brother.
And she's a great cook. She's a beautiful lady.
She's a good cook.
I miss you both. Give Z my best.
Always.
And before we go, let's talk about Argentina a little bit. Yes,
Well,
I see you visit down there. You know that area really well, and I guess they know you out there as well. So tell us a little bit about that.
We were on a tour to France, and we were playing this club, and we were in the middle of a blues song, and I don't know what it was. It's just me most of the time. There was a gentleman sitting in the front row, you know, just eyes glued. Do you know Ronnie Stewart?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I got a feeling whose name you're going to come up with, because when I was out in Paris, he was out there too. I know you're going to talk about. You're not talking about Alvin, are you?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, this guy's name. He was from Argentina.
Oh,
We
okay.
didn't know that. And he was sitting there, and something said, "This, you know, say something to this gentleman." And he's actually a clothes designer for men.
All right. Okay.
He was doing some designs and stuff for Christian Dior.
Wow.
And so we're sitting there, and I just happened to ask him, said, are you a guitar player? And he started laughing, and you know, he's in the club with everybody else. And he said, yes. So we invited him up on the stage to play. And his name was Adrian Lucio.
Oh, okay.
And he came up and he played blues with us. Not the greatest player. On a scale from 1 to 10, he was a hard 5.
Okay.
But he had the spirit to play. And he said, you should come to Argentina.
Wow.
I said, really? He said, yeah, you should come to Argentina. I said, okay. So went back to Cali in about, I never forgot what he said. I think it was about a year, maybe a year and a half. And I got on the plane, bought me a ticket, went to Argentina, and met with him when I got there. And that was like in 93, 94. And loved it. Loved the food. I had never drank red wine before, like Cabernets or Merlots or Pinots.
Pinot Noir, yeah.
I hadn't drank those before. And so he took me around to wineries for wine tasting. And that's where I got my zest and zeal, my zest from for drinking wines now.
You have any Ripple there?
No Ripple, brother.
Okay, just had to ask.
No Ripple. Nothing like that.
Okay, bro.
The food is fantastic, as I said. The place is musical, although they they slightly play off time. I don't mean that in a negative sense. I mean, where we're always on the one, Argentine players, it's like tango is their national big thing. And you can feel the Italian side of them when they talk. but when they play there, except for certain players, they don't truly understand pocket. And that was one thing that I learned about them. Although the music is good and they sound good and they mimic us, you know. Anyway, I started going there, and I've been going there ever since.
Got hooked.
That's a good place. It's a good place to go to chill, before the pandemic, to chill, to have good food. They have what they call asados, which is like a barbecue. They don't start eating dinner until 10:30, 11 o'clock p.m.
Oh boy. Okay. All right. Okay.
You know, they eat really late. You know, the places will stay up until 3. Some, not all of them. But the food is amazing.
Okay.
The people are amazing people. They are very kind. Of course, you find some jerks every once in a while, but I haven't run into maybe 2, if I ran into any at all. They are definitely into health. It's very seldom you see a lot of obese people in Argentina, period. Because they walk a lot. You know, the thing that I love about being over there, it makes me walk because, you know, the streets are always crowded.
Wow.
And you can jump in a taxi like that. But walking is healthy. And you can pretty much walk to any place you want to go. Or catch a bus, or catch a train, but they get packed. So if you have like tons of taxis there. I mean, taxis by the truckload.
Yeah.
So getting a taxi and just doing like that, and you got a taxi.
Yeah.
But a place that's musically inclined, for me, if they say, where do you want to spend the rest of your life? It'd be here in Argentina.
When you say here, we're talking about Georgia.
Douglasville, Georgia.
Douglasville, yes. Well, I can't wait to get back there. I can't wait to have you come out here. We have a book signing, and
right.
we're going to also have a concert. I plan to have it out in the Bay Area. We have a concert. We're going to have your show, Chris James, and we're going to put together a great show because you can do it by yourself, or we're going to have your son with his band. We'll put together a band. I know you know many musicians out here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's not a problem.
Out here, there's plenty. I've talked to a lot of people that know you out here. Be happy to play with you.
Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes.